Good morning. How is everyone doing today? It is currently Thursday, October 17th, and we are back with another weather update on the tropics and some potential snowfall in the United States. We are broadcasting from Arizona today, a little bit different area and a little bit different setup. We are celebrating my mom's graduation, getting her business administration degree. So excited for that. But we're going to start with taking a look at the satellite imagery and the true color imagery by Tropical Tidbits as well. And you can see noted on here right as now, this is going to be our Invest 94L, which has been downgraded to a 30% chance from their originally 60% chance of development within the next 7 days that the National Hurricane Center had put out. But I do think this does still have a good chance and a good opportunity of developing to at least a tropical cyclone, a tropical storm by the time it gets to the Puerto Rico area. And I think the DR and the Dominican Republic are going to feel the strongest effects of this. The question still lies where it's going to go after that, potentially into the Caribbean, or will it curve out into the Atlantic Ocean as we have a center of high pressure spinning clockwise, which could potentially slingshot it into the central Atlantic and just get absolutely torn apart. And then we're also going to have another invest down here in the southern Caribbean. Like I said, this one has not been really conducive for development in the environment that it's in. And I really think that if it really becomes anything within the next 24 to 48 hours, it's most likely going to be no more than a tropical depression, possibly a tropical storm, and then impacting parts of the southern Yucatan Peninsula and potentially Mexico. But without further ado, let's dive into some of the models and take a look at what the latest data shows. Alrighty, jumping over the latest GEFS ensemble members. This is going to be the 06Z run as of October 17th. This is the latest run, and this is going to kind of show us a whole bunch of different scenarios and what a whole bunch of different computer models think is going to happen with these two areas of investigation that we're looking at. Beginning with the one down in the Yucatan Peninsula and Southern Caribbean, that's going to be the one that shows up on the map first. You can see as we go into Friday, October 18th here, you can see a whole bunch of members starting to fire up down there. Same as always, but they've came to their senses a little bit at this point now. Brings a very, very low and maybe not even a tropical depression in the southern Yucatan Peninsula. Gets just absolutely torn apart. And you'll notice the past, most model runs don't even have anything. Like the GFS, it doesn't have anything from Invest 94L, doesn't have any type of system whatsoever. And I mean, we can go back run after run after run for the past couple of days now, and it's consistently just debunked the fact that, you know, this is not going to be a tropical depression. This is not going to be a tropical storm, let alone a hurricane. I do think, though, like I said, with the environment that it's in, regardless of what the model show, I think there is definitely environmental factors that are conducive for tropical development once it gets past the Leeward Islands and north to Puerto Rico. It's going to have a very small window, a very small time frame, especially if the models are correct and it does go over the DR and the Dominican Republic area, which is most likely, it's mostly true. And we'll kind of dive into some of the model tracks, the data intensity, and see what they show as well. Alrighty, jumping over to Invest 94L model track guidance, which a lot of models has, like I said, debunked the idea of this forming in anything. Originally, we had a lot more models. Originally, they were going further south, but every video update, if you go watch my last videos, it has ever so slightly ticked north and ever so slightly started kind of diminishing and dissipating the idea and the fact that this is going to become any type of tropical disturbance or tropical storm. But the models that still are hinting at a development are taking this a lot further north now, not even impacting the Dominican Republic, keeping it on the east side and actually going into Cuba. So like I said, I mean, this is something that we're going to have to watch for long term if it manages to get into the Caribbean, south of Cuba, shoot the gap, possibly later on come into the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, these are all things that we have to take in consideration further down the road. But as right now, I mean, I don't see this thing becoming any more than a tropical storm at this point. Switching over to the latest model track intensity guidance from Invest 94L. A good majority of them do take it up to Category 1 status, just right below Category 2. A lot of them keep it on tropical storm status. So we'll have to see. Like I said, this is not as many model members as before. A lot of models have debunked the idea of this becoming anything. So it's just something I have to wait and see. I personally think that this still does have a good opportunity to become a tropical storm. So I'm not sure why a lot of models are debunking the idea of this becoming at least a tropical storm. I mean, convection has actually been a lot more broad over the past 24 to 48 hours, but we've had a lot more higher burst around that center of circulation, around that low level of circulation, and I think that it's going to continue to do so. Here's the Leeward Islands right here. Once it gets to the north of the Leeward Islands, north of the DR, like I said, I think this is going to be much more conducive for tropical development. It's going to be in a better environment with less dust, less shear, and it's just going to have the whole entire atmosphere to take advantage. So let's go ahead and jump over to some of the model track guidance, and we're going to talk about the snowfall rates dates and the timing of potential snow in the Rocky Mountains, potentially New Mexico getting severe weather on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. Alrighty, now jumping over to the latest SPC severe weather outlook. It's been a while since we've actually taken a look at this, and not too much is going on, nothing major. This is not going to be a severe weather outbreak or a tornado outbreak by any means, but going to the day 2, this is going to be Friday, October the 18th. We've got a marginal risk for pretty much eastern parts of New Mexico. This is going to be driven by a very isolated 2% tornado risk, a 5% damaging wind risk, and a 5% chance of seeing any hail basically larger than golf ball size. Like I said, this is not going to be anything major. I think one of these days could potentially be upgraded to a slight risk. Most likely it's going to be either Saturday or Sunday, possibly Friday. This is going to be the outlook for Friday coming up, October 19th. Can't see any specific details as far as like the severe weather and the probabilities, but like I said, probably most likely nothing major, very isolated, but potential for some severe weather also going into the Panhandle, as well as Kansas and Oklahoma moving into Monday and Tuesday as well. Diving over to our 3-kilometer All right, diving over to the latest 12Z October 17th NAM 3-kilometer model. This is going to kind of show us the future radar and what the model thinks it's going to look like potentially for some snow and potentially severe weather in New Mexico. Just kind of give us an idea of everything that's going on in the future. This is more of a short range / mid-range model, so it's been pretty accurate. The HRRR model is definitely a little more not as aggressive, a little more accurate in my opinion, but it doesn't go out as far. But this is just kind of a broad look going into Friday. Here's Colorado, New Mexico down here. We're in Tucson right down here in Arizona, and this is going to be going up in Nevada as well. And you can see, snow bands start feeding in. This is getting into midday tomorrow, Friday. You've got, banding of snow beginning to start to push into Colorado. You've got rain showers starting to pop up in New Mexico, Arizona down here. And as we push this in time, like I said, Friday is going to be eastern New Mexico, potentially a little bit of scatter, maybe 1 or 2 isolated pop-ups, severe storms, maybe some damaging wind, and maybe an isolated tornado, but nothing major. It's not really until we get into the Saturday time frame, and you can see a lot more aggressive firing up of storms, possibly some snow flurries down here in New Mexico, maybe south as Phoenix potentially could see some snow flurries. So I don't think it's going to be nothing that accumulates that far south. A lot of the snow is going to be more so for the high elevations in Colorado, the Rocky Mountains. So I know people that go skiing are going to absolutely love that. But we take this in time. This is getting into Saturday now. You can see absolutely just crazy firing up convection down here. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be anything crazy as far as a severe weather event, but definitely the opportunity for some severe weather. And we can go back on Friday and let's go ahead and try to, actually let's go into early Saturday and try to sample some of these soundings around here and see what some of these photographs look like. Yeah, so, I mean, definitely, like I said, there's definitely the favorability of a potentially ISIS tornado, but this is not going to be anything crazy. This is not going to be, this doesn't scream, like PDS tornado. We're not going to see an outbreak. So, like I said, I don't think it's going to be anything that we need to worry about as far as severe weather. Let's go ahead and take a look at the total snowfall accumulations. And you can see, I mean, a lot of areas definitely picking up, mostly the high elevations, picking up on potentially 1 to 2 feet of snow. Denver possibly picking up on a couple inches of snow, and like I said, maybe far south is potentially almost Phoenix, a couple inches of snow as well. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this actually pans out and how it really unfolds. But like I said, if you're, if I'm in Colorado and I'm sitting here in the higher elevations, I'm definitely getting excited for skiing. Mountain ranges are going to be absolutely packed. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other variables though for the severe weather, the CAPE, the convective available potential energy that's in the atmosphere, and see what it has to show. All right, jumping over to our CAPE, convective available potential energy model, and this is going to kind of give us an idea of the environment and how conducive it is for severe weather, and you need at least 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram to be able to get any type of severe weather. And I think we're going to be just on the husk of that. And it seems like a lot of the energy is going to fire up at nighttime, so just after sunset. And that's the same for Friday, October 18th and Saturday, October 19th. This time frame is going to be more so October the 19th for Saturday night. And you can see, we're pushing barely 1,000 joules per kilogram on multiple days, let alone sometimes less than that. So the environment is not necessarily explosive. There is a lot of other kinematics that are going to go into play for potential severe weather firing up down here. with the two different air masses, that's going to have a play in it as well. But it's just going to be something we have to watch for, especially if you're down in New Mexico. It's going to be a very isolated region, and this will continue into Monday and Tuesday, going into the panhandle of Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma as that trough ejects off to the east. But it's not going to be anything crazy. I think once we get around the Halloween at the end of October, we're going to have our first mega trough, especially for the northeastern United States, and our weather pattern is definitely starting to shift into that, that mega trough pattern that we usually see. And especially as we go into the springtime, April, May, we start seeing those a lot more. So like I said, for the rest of the month of October, I think after this, we are not going to see any more necessarily major Arctic blasts until going into November. So at least for the short to midterm, everything seems to be pretty quiet after this system blows through. But for now, we're going to continue watching everything, watching the tropics, see what happens, especially with Invest 94L. It's interesting how a lot of the models has debunked the thought of any potential tropical development, regardless of the atmosphere, being seductive for potential tropical development once it gets to the north of the Leeward Islands and the north of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. But it's going to be something that we continue to monitor the trends. I'll be posting up here almost daily as much as I can. Like I said, we're going to be on the road until Monday, so there might be 1 or 2 days that I don't post, but I'll try to do some quick stories on the YouTube Shorts, TikTok as well, so definitely go check those out. I appreciate everyone watching. I love y'all. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Comment down below if y'all have any questions or concerns, and I'll see y'all in the next video.